Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Alex S. Moy here, aka the Data Doctor. And today we're going to be doing a deep dive into a Tableau build out. So, one of the things that I share with my students and with the folks that I've worked with in the past is just how powerful these BI tools like Tableau can be. And so, I want to build out a channel specifically on sharing with you guys some of the best practices that I have around Tableau. And I want to take you guys through step by step exactly what I do when I look at new data sets and my approach to building out dashboards. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. And we're going to continue doing that each week. I'm going to be bringing you guys new data sets, new dashboards, new build outs, and we're going to go from scratch, straight from the raw data set all the way to full dashboard build out. And we'll just go from there. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and take you guys through exactly what we're looking at today. So as I said before, this is going to be our very, very first session together, and I'm really excited for this. And the thing that I'll share with you guys first off is that we will be pulling all of our data off of a site called Kaggle. So if you've never used Kaggle before, it's a fantastic source of different data sets. And I'll be pulling different data sets from here. We might play around with some Workout Wednesdays or Makeover Mondays in the future. But what we're going to be doing here today is just grabbing a data set. I'll be downloading this. I've already downloaded it actually. Loading into Tableau and playing with it directly in that system. So that's it. Right now, what we're looking at here is the most subscribed YouTube channel. So I'm actually going to pull this down and open up Tableau right here. And right now, we've got a brand new workbook, nothing in here, nothing loaded. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect to my data file. So if you've never really played with or used Tableau in the past, this may be a little bit foreign to you, but you can see I already have a folder over here with this file. I've already downloaded it. If you download it off of Kaggle, you do have to create an account, but it's very simple, very easy. It's integrated. You can use single sign-on with your Gmail account if you have a Gmail account. But let's just go ahead and open up our top subscribed file. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to see it. It's going to be loaded into our data source. You can see everything that's loaded in over here. Here's our sample of our data. What I'm looking at first off is how many columns, what the rows look like, what is the data type. So first thing that I'm noticing right out the back is we have a rank column, which makes sense. It looks like it's ranked by subscribers. I didn't read too much into the category, but there are some other things in here that's interesting. We've got video views, we've got video count, we've got categories, so there's some sort of roll up, and then we've got something over here that says started. So this looks like the started year where the channel was first started. That's very interesting as well. But all in all, there's not that much data to work with here. So we're going to load this in, we're going to play around with it and see what we can make up. So the first thing I'm thinking about here is this rank column. You know, it's hard-coded in here. We might want to see rank based off of, say, category or year started, for example. And so this column might not be that useful as it is right here, and we're probably going to have to remove it. The other thing that I'm noticing as I'm looking over here is there are some channels, like YouTube Movies, that have 0 videos, and they've got a lot of subscribers, 0 videos, 0 video views. So, you know, if you've used YouTube, you notice that there are some categories or channels that are really just system generated, and you know that might be something that we need to remove from our data set to avoid being skewed. The other thing that I'm noticing is that there's this category that has, okay, the top 1,000 most subscribed YouTube channels. It looks like some system generated URL. So already I'm profiling the data a little bit, looking for, just trying to understand the data. There's a bunch of these roll-up categories that looks like are system generated. We're probably going to want to remove those and take a look at that. So again, we don't have a lot of data to work with here. So what I'm going to do right here is going to hide this. We're going to hide that, and we're going to go over into, before we even go into our worksheets, I think these 0 system generated categories is something I want to remove. And so I'm actually going to add a filter right now. I mean, this could be something you keep, something you don't, but if the video count is not at least 1, I don't want it in my data set. So that's the first couple things that I've done already, right? I removed all that system aggregated stuff. I just want to see channels that are generated by actual people or teams, and I want to be able to compare them. I want to take a look at these categories and see what those look like. And I want to calculate the rank based off subscribers, right? That's what we're looking at here, but I might calculate rank off of some of these other things like video views or video counts. And so we might take a look at building that out. But we do know that this is top subscribed, so the rank is primarily going to be driven off of subscribers. So already you can see that I've done some initial profiling. That's how I'm looking at this data. I'm thinking about some calculated fields that I might want to create. So one might be view based off number of views based off the videos. So that's views per video. And then the other might be views per subscriber, which is probably not necessarily going to be as useful because you might have people that view your content that are not subscribers. But we're going to play around with that a little bit. So let's just dive in here. So I like that initial data source view because it's very helpful. If you want to go back, you can always come over here, but you can also click on this little icon over here that allows you to view data. This is something that I use quite a bit to come back and review my data without, if I have multiple tables in here, I'll look at this. You can sort, you can rearrange, you can actually filter out what you're looking at in terms of fields, and you can also download the data set right here. So this is very useful, especially when you're dealing with multiple data sources to use this. It's something that I don't think a lot of people actually use. This caret over here is going to allow us to create some calculated fields. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drag this started up here because this is actually the year started. It's not something that we're going to aggregate off of. I'm going to change the default property to number custom 0 decimal places and remove that because I know working with numbers that's going to be kind of weird. So there's something 1970. So that's interesting because, okay. So there's a channel over here called YouTube that was started in 1970, according to this data. And we just know that that can't be right. But there's videos, there's view counts. I don't know that we want to keep that in there. That looks like, I mean, there might be a channel called YouTube, but I don't think it was started in 1970, considering we didn't have the internet. I'm going to go back and filter that out again. So we just want to make sure that we get rid of any bad data, right? So I'm going to come over here, YouTube channel. I'm going to type in YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to exclude all of those. And let's go back over here and take a look at what we've got. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. We don't have that wonky year date. And we can see, all right, we've got quite a bit of channels. And this is interesting already, right? So we're looking at these 3 metrics over here compared to our started. And you can kind of see a pattern in channels that were started in different periods. And it looks like there's actually a ramp-up period in which it takes to accumulate subscribers. But it also might be a product of how many channels were created. So I'm going to create a calculated field called channel count. And we'll say count distinct channels. And let's just drop that in there too. So, okay, this one over here, 2014, a lot of channels were present or started, right? It was started in 2014. And you can see that more subscribers. So that all makes sense because, hey, we've got a lot of channels, a lot more subscribers. But what might be interesting now is to see what was our average subscribers in a given year, right? Because we know these are at the channel level. So if I take like the average over here, I can see, all right, which channels have higher subscribers. So channels that were started in 2006 have more subscribers. And it seems like channels that are at least 5, 10, 15 years old have more subscribers, right? But over here, 2021, looks like they have less subscribers. So 2016 on, that seems somewhat interesting. I don't know if that's something that we're going to really pay attention to much, but we can also look at, if I right click and drag, I can get this drop down menu field, right? So average video count is much higher for longer channels. And then we can also do average video views. And so this is really interesting because per channel, right, you have more views in older channels, which makes sense. Maybe people that came in on the second wave in 2006 figured it out a little better. But then you start to see something really weird here. This average video views go back up because maybe people are figuring out how the system works. The folks that are getting in now really are professionals and they know how to build this stuff out. But everything over here is kind of a lull. And even over here, video count went up, but views went down. So, this might be indicative of different years in which different algorithms happen. I don't know. It's really hard to tell since this is based off of the year started, and all of these channels probably evolved. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to create a couple of metrics that I think could be useful. So we got the channel counts, which is interesting, but I do want to create a views per video. So I'm going to take the sum of video views, because anytime you do like averages, you want to be careful about this because you don't want to take the average of averages. You typically want to take the aggregate average. And so that's why we're doing the sum of sum. The sum divided by the sum, I should say. And then the other one that I want to create is, let's see, views per subscriber. And then we'll say sum of video views divided by sum of subscribers. Okay. So that will be useful in comparing channels, I think. So now what I'm thinking, because I've done my initial profiling, right, and looking at some of this data, is that we've got a lot of channels. And what's probably going to be useful from let's think navigation, let's think dashboard. What can we put on a single screen that's going to be really useful? So let's go over here to our dashboard for a second. And I'm going to make this a little bit wider just because I have a bigger screen, a little bit more real estate. But we can imagine for a second that we've got, I'm going to drop in a vertical container. We've got some text up here, and we'll just say my dashboard. And then we've got blank over here. And, there's a lot of different ways we can slice and dice this, but let's make this like a drill down navigation with details, right? With summary details. So we'll do 3 panels. We'll do a horizontal right here. And we'll just say text 1 is going to say summary metric. We'll say group metrics. Okay, and we'll also grab let's see what happened with our layout. So if you haven't worked with the layouts in Tableau, it is a little bit wonky. You do have to get used to it. I'm going to drop another horizontal container. I'm going to drop a blank in there, because when you get a blank in, you can actually drop another blank and make sure that the container actually holds its shape. Okay, so we're going to put our group metrics over here. We'll remove this blank. It's just a placeholder. And then we'll put our second text over here, and we'll say top 10 summary, because that could be useful. I'm thinking about it from the channel's perspective, right? And then this will be summary metrics down here. So we'll drop this text over here. We'll say summary metrics. I don't know if we're going to stick with all this stuff, but this is kind of my first thoughts around this and how we'll make this work. So let's go ahead and go back, because like I said, this data is pretty sparse. We don't have a lot to work with. Let's pull out our categories. So there is this weird category over here. I thought we had gotten rid of that. Let's keep only this and see what channels are here. So this is kind of weird. So let's just alias this. We could create a custom group, but I'm just going to alias this and say no category. Looks like these could be different countries, different roll-ups. I'm not exactly sure, but let's take that out. So now we can kind of see all of our categories. We've got a no category over here. I think what would be nice is if we showed our subscribers, because that's kind of our key metric right here that we're working with. We're going to drop this down on our labels as well. I'm going to format this to show it in billions. Yeah, there we go. So now we can see that in billions, 2 decimal places. That's fine. Since it's already shown up here, we can remove some of our data ink. We don't need that. I'm going to go ahead and do this as entire view. It is quite a few categories, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to hide this row label, and we'll just call this categories by subscriber count. By subscribers. And I don't know that there's much we want to do here, but we could also filter this so that's top 10. So what I'm going to do here is actually, let's do a roll-up of our top 10 only. So what I'm going to do is create a set. I'm going to create a set on top of this. And we're going to say top by field 10. And so what you can see is, if I put this over here, you can see these are in and these are out. That's fine. And then I'm going to create a calculate a field that says category top 10. And so if category set, so basically if this is true, then I want category, okay? Else other. And so now I can place this over here. Well, we'll place it over here. And you can see now all of these categories will show up, and then the other will be on the bottom. So I can remove this, and then I can resort it. And we're gonna take other and sort it manually to the bottom. And now we can see these are our most popular categories, and then the other is going to always be on the bottom because we manually sorted it. There's other ways to handle the sort that will make it more robust, but that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to actually modify this as I'm looking at this now and remove the lines, I think. Yeah. So just getting rid of some of that data ink that can be a little bit annoying at times. We've got everything that we need here from the information. And so now we can come back over here and we can say, hey, here's our categories, right? And so the idea here is that you can click on this and it's going to give you your channels, right? And when you look at your channels, then you're going to be able to click into your channels and you're going to get your summary metrics for that right there. So that's the idea of the dashboard we're going for. We're just going to go ahead and hide this title right here. We'll make this a little bit bigger. We'll just say YouTube top channels by subscribers. Counts. By subscribers is fine. I'm going to make this, we'll do semi-bold. We'll bump this up to 14. And we'll darken this to black. And then boom. So we've got a title over here. Now let's come over here and create our top 10 summary metric, right? So we can do the same thing with their YouTube channels as we did with our set, with our category. So whoops, what I want to do is right click on here, create set. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to say by field, by subscribers, sum top 10. Okay. And then we're going to create that same category or same YouTube channel top 10. So if YouTube sets, whoops, then YouTube channel, else other end. Okay. So now using that if then statement, we're able to make that. So we're going to put this in here. And let's see what's happening over here. So others up here. Okay. So our other was up here. We're going to grab our subscribers, pull that down at the bottom. And so now we can start to see, hey, these are our channels. So that other is really, really going to skew our data. Let's see if we can modify our axis any. Let's see what happens if we do independent for each row. It doesn't seem like it's going to do much over here. So we could fix it, but I don't know that that's the best way to handle it. So for now, what we're going to do is just go back to our YouTube channels, put that on there, and we're just going to put our set where we're only going to include the things that are in the set, and we'll remove that. So this is just going to give us our top 10 channels only. So we'll call this top 10 channels. And there might be some use cases for, drilling down further, but for right now, we're just going to keep this in here. So we're going to grab this. We'll hide this, and we need to do the same thing, right? We were doing before. We'll grab the subscribers, put that over here. We're going to format it, and we'll adjust the numbers. So that's 2 decimal places in. We'll do it in millions, right? So millions to 1 decimal place seems appropriate. That looks pretty good. We're going to sort it in descending order. And so we can see all of that. And then we're going to make sure that this is entire view so that we can see everything. We'll go ahead and format this again. We'll remove the grid lines for horizontal. And I think there's a border over here that I'm seeing. So let's remove that. No, that's. I cannot tell what that line is, but there is a faint line down below. I think that's the axis ruler for the columns. There it is. Okay. So yeah, it just depends on some of the different features you're using or the type of visualization you're creating. It will end up being different areas. So we're going to go ahead and set this to entire view. We'll hide our channel, hide our row labels. And, I think actually we will want to keep our titles. And we'll just rename some of our titles. Okay. We'll just say, top categories, top 10 channels. And then what we can do is we can use this as a filter, right? We can click this, it'll create a dashboard action. That'll put it in here. And so let's see. So we don't actually want to use the set action over here. We're actually going to create a rank. So we'll say subscriber rank. So rank some subscribers descending. We got to close that parentheses. So we're going to create this table calc. And we can put this right here, and we can say 10. And so for whatever visualization, whatever filter is being applied on here, it's only going to return back to top 10 based off of subscriber rank. And you can see how that plays out over here. And so we can see that we're pulling in exactly just those top 10. So if we unfilter it, that's what we'll see over here. We select entertainment. We're going to see Mr. Beast is number 1. And what might actually be helpful is we can make these a little bit bigger so that we can see the full name. But we can also actually put the rank over here, right? So that could be something that's useful. So let's do that. Let's grab this rank over here. We're going to put it over here. It's going to turn it into a a continuous calculation by default, but we're going to modify it to discrete. So it's going to show it like that. And then I'm going to format this. So I want my alignment horizontal center, vertical center. And I'm going to make it a little bit bolder. And then I'm going to turn off the lines for our row dividers. So off there. And so that we don't have all of that. And I don't know, let's take a look how this looks on the dashboard. So maybe we want to move it, the number in front. And we can make the number a little bit smaller. And then we can even come in here and say $sign or like £sign plus string subscriber rank. And then it's going to show number 1, number 2, number, we can make the text display like that. And then we can come over here and then format it again. Let's fix this back to how we had it before. So now I can see number 1, number 2, number 3, all the way down. And I like that. That looks pretty good. I wish the colors were a little bit different. And so I'm wondering if we could use colors from categories and then color these channels. Because maybe we select like these 3 and we want to compare which one's in what category. So let's do that. Let's actually grab our categories and put that in color over here. And that's actually really interesting for the other, because now we can see all of that as well. The way we can avoid that is actually we can use the category top 10 instead. And that's something that I think we're going to do. So category top 10 into colors. And what we want to do now is adjust this to be only by YouTube channel. Okay, so let's edit this calculation a little bit. All right, so that messed it up, so let's remove that for a second. One of the best things about Tableau is the unlimited undos. So if we put this over here, it's going to color everything. It's creating a different level of aggregation. And what happens if we click over here now? Okay, so I think what's happening is this calculation over here. Let's calculate using just the Okay, so we're using table calculations. We have to think about how those are being computed when we add a different level of granularity. So if we want to color this, let me remove this first. So actually, here's a trick. Here's something that I do from time to time is I duplicate these and then make my modifications on here before I take a look at how it affects that. So as soon as I add that, it's still 1 through 10. but it's using it from a table down. So if I say by cell, whoops, by specific dimension, so I'm wondering now if we need to do some sort of rank based off of fixed level calculation. Let's see. So if I grab YouTube channel and put it over here and said top 10 by subscribers. Yeah, so we can just do it using that filter, and that should work right here. Okay, so turns out there's an easier way to do that, right? So we approached it one way. It didn't do it exactly how we thought. And so we're going to use a different way. So I'm going to grab the YouTube channel again. I'm going to say top by subscribers sum apply, top 10. And then we'll grab the category 10. And so now we're building it back on top of what we had built earlier. And we're just going to get rid of that. We're going to sort it by ascending. So sometimes some of these design features that you're building out might not work out as expected. Let's go back over here for a second. If I move this over here, will that adjust anything? So if I do it based off a YouTube channel, no. Well, the other thing we could do, and this is a little bit cheating, but we could use the index expression. And we can just say compute using table down. Or not. So yeah, table calculations are fun. There's some challenges. I'm not going to spend the time to troubleshoot how to make that work. If you have a tip for how to make those calculations work on the fly and do exactly what I'm trying to go for today, feel free to drop it in the comments down below. There is a way to do it. I'm not going to spend time worrying about that right now today. But you can see right here that we have all of this is ordered and by category. Now we select over here. We're going to see this. Okay, so we're getting that issue again. Okay, so this is coming through as a fixed level detail calculation. Not what we want. So we're just going to go back. We're going to reverse the changes that we made to this. I thought it would work the way I wanted to, but that turns out not to be the case. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. So there is a lot of things that we could do here in Tableau. I'm not going to try to sort out every single piece of that. So we're going to forego the coloring. I thought it would be cool, but it doesn't look like it's going to be an easy fix. Now, I will say there's always a way to do these things. Sometimes it's just a little bit more complicated. So the question you have to ask, is the juice worth the squeeze? And in this case, I don't think so. So we're just going to forego it. I'm going to keep the coloring over here. I think that's kind of cool. I would like to see the color over here come through, but we're just not going to do that today. All right, so let me think if there is a different way to do it. So what we could actually do is we can create another chart that colors matches up with each one of these. I think that could work potentially. Yeah, I don't know because of the filtering and the coloring based off the table calculations. So we're not going to spend too much time on that. I've spent way too much time already trying to figure that out. Last thing we're going to do is build out the summary metrics over here. So let's build out one more dashboard. We're going to use the channel as the detail. And that way we'll have it available as part of the name. We're also going to create some details on the subscriber. Let's just grab all of this stuff. Let's do it as these numbers. Use the show me button. And then we're going to say subscriber calculate this based off of YouTube channels. And we're going to move this back to details. So if we come over here with, say, summary of, then we can now insert our YouTube channel and we'll apply all. In fact, okay. Put it as a tooltip and see if we can turn that back to black. Apply, okay. Table across, okay. Let's see how that works. If we drag this in here, place this, say fit entire view. Now we can see all of this. Let's format all of our headers and align them center. We'll do the same thing with our pane. So all of our measure values will align to the center. And if we add a filter, all right, so I'm going to turn that off and I'm going to go over here to my dashboard actions and I'm going to add another filter. And it's just going to be on the top 10 channels and it's only going to target the summary of. And then it's going to exclude all values. It's going to run on select, and we'll just say channel filter. And I only want it to really single select. So we'll go and click on that. And then so you can see summary of T series, summary of Cocoa Rhymes, summary of none. And in fact, what we can do is make our vertical container flexible. And so when it's on none, it will collapse this whole thing down. So we select evenly distributes. And then we actually come back over here. That's not what we wanted. So we come over here and we adjust this one. and we say evenly distribute contents over here, we want our horizontal container. And yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's a fixed height. So if we come back over here, we select this, then it will adjust. Otherwise, we click off, it will show that. And then, so we have this rank over here, and it's always going to show 1 because it's going to be across the table. We kind of want to see what the global rank is. And so let's see if we can go ahead and fix that really quickly. So let's think about this. A fixed level detail calculations, typically how you'd go there. And I'm actually going to Google this real quick. So fixed rank Tableau. And let's see how that will work. So it looks like you can create it based off of, so you create a fixed level detail calculation first, and then you do the rank of it. So let's take a look at what that would look like. So we'll call it fixed subscriber or global subscriber rank. And we'll say rank sum fixed. And then we're fixing this globally. So we're just going to say some subscribers. Close that, descending. And that should be correct. So let's take a look at if this works or not. So we're going to compute using cell. So let's see if we can actually change this a little bit. If we change it to an exclude to YouTube channel, I don't think that's going to work because it's filtered down to a single channel. All right, so table calcs are not our friend today. Apparently, we'll have to play around with our table calcs and look at fixed ranks in the future. And if that's something that you guys use a lot, let me know. I mean, if that's something you want me to explore and take a look at, we can definitely play around with that some more. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove that column because it's not useful in our current data set, but we can see what we've got right here in this dashboard. So over here, we've got our viewer counts. We've got all these viewer metrics, and we can see how they compare with one another. We can actually come over here as well and say that, let's go back over here to our dashboard. And review our actions over here. We'll change this back over here. And so now if I wanted to select multiple channels, we can actually display that. So I'm going to actually, well, let's come back over here and select one channel. and grab our channel name and put that on row. So now we've got our channel. And if we select multiple channels, we can see that it dynamically adjusts because of how we've adjusted our filter or our, and I don't know if I like that. So I'm going to come back over here and going to select our horizontal container and we'll edit the height. We'll say 400. And so now when we're not selecting anything, it's going to show none. But if we select multiple, we'll see that. And then we can actually come back over here and sort it by subscribers so that will stay. We can come over here and see that we select entertainment. We're going to get these two guys. I can come back over here and select all of these channels, and we can see that it's sorted by subscribers. And so you get an idea of how these channels are doing compared to one another. For example, Mr. Beast is kind of interesting because the views per subscriber is quite low. They've got a lot of subscribers. Video count is lower, but you can see the views per video is quite high. In fact, Vlad and Nikki have even less videos, but their views per video is ridiculous, right? It's actually much higher than Mr. Beast. So you can see that it's not necessarily driven off of the number of views because ZTV over here has a lot of videos, but their views per video is much lower. So maybe this is to derive really your ideas, the quality of your ideas in making your videos is actually what's the most important thing when you're creating YouTube videos. So that's kind of interesting. But you can see we're able to create this interactive dashboard over here, and you can filter and navigate that. I want to add one more thing. I want to add the category so that you can actually see that over here as well. So I'm going to grab the category. I'm going to put it over here, and that should display right in here. I don't love the zebra striping, so I'm going to come over here, format this, the color row banding. I can just remove it like that. I can select this as none, header none. And that should remove it. Let's see, these lines are fine. Let's get rid of this column. Yeah. And so now we can just see those straight across. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because these numbers aren't taking up that much space. And so just like that, we can see what we've selected over here. We can find out what the stats are. We can compare them with one another. And we've got an interactive dashboard. So we want to see, these are our popular channels. These top three look like they're taking the cake. Let's compare them. Okay, they've got a lot of videos. Blackpink does not have as many videos, but they've got really high views per video count. So yes, like I said before, there's not a whole lot in terms of the data that's available here. But we were able to build a little interactive dashboard. I didn't put a whole lot of polish. We could add a logo in here. I mean, we can come in here and grab like the YouTube. We go Google real quick, YouTube logo on images. Save the image really quickly. Now come over here, insert an image up here. apply, fits, center. Okay. Drag this down, make it a little bit bigger. And so top channels dashboard for 2022. And then the other thing we did not do is we didn't really play with the founding years or anything like that. So, we can come back in here and we can add some of those details. We can come back in here actually and say started year and put that in here as well. And so now when we come over here, it's like this. We've got our year started. We've got all these details. I'm going to right click on here and center all this stuff as well. I want to center that. I want to center the headers. I want to center the value of that. And then the category, center that as well. Fields for started, come back over here, center that. So yeah, just so that we're able to build a fairly simple dashboard, nothing too crazy, give us some basic summary metrics. So what I will say here is there's not a lot that we have to go off of in terms of comparison between one channel and another channel here that I thought was very useful. But I did want to go ahead and create something that was interactive that showcases what you can do with Tableau relatively quickly. We were able to run through this in probably about an hour, 15 minutes or so. And most of that time was spent trying to figure out table calculations, interacting with some coloring, unfortunately. But we're still able to finish out and build this dashboard. And so if you guys want to play with this, I will publish a link to Tableau Public. I'm going to go ahead and save this right now. But that's it for me today, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. If you guys do like this, please be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below what you guys enjoy, what you guys want to see more of. And we'll be creating more videos like this in the future. So until next time, take care, guys, and I will catch you guys on the next one.